What are y'all doing today?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good to see you.
I'm doing good. I was stressed out. I didn't know that it was going to be this gory. Like,
Yeah.
I knew the premise, but I don't think I knew the premise of what was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't eat on this movie. I feel like that should be a disclaimer. Don't eat.
Don't
You know?
eat. Don't have
I
breakfast.
feel like I've seen a lot of people be like, how do I organize my snacks? Like, can I snack?
Really?
Do I not? Yeah, like, do I snack only in the beginning of the movie? I feel
Honestly,
like
get them all in the beginning. Get them all in
Yeah.
the beginning, yeah.
But I don't know. The guy next to me, he was chewing his popcorn, so he was unfazed.
Stay away from that man.
It's gonna tell you
There's
a lot
something wrong
about
with that man.
someone, how they handle their snacks in this film.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting. Like, this is not a horror movie at all, but I kind of think that it's, in a lot of ways, kind of an action movie for horror fans. Like, that's how gory this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need you to teach me how to have some riz, okay? Because you were giving charisma, honey.
Oh, thank you.
Though, like, you need to teach classes on this because I was just like, damn, like, how do I be as likable as him?
This is the first and only time anyone will ever say this to me, that I need to teach a class on Riz, so I appreciate it.
That's not true. He's the Tom Hanks of this generation.
She's been saying this all day.
He can't take a compliment. Yeah, see?
Thank you. I can't take a compliment, but no, I think in terms of, like, to slightly pivot off of that question, which is a very nice thing for you to say. No, I think, like, what I like about, I think it really all comes down to the character, because Nate is, I'd say, the sweetest character I've ever played in my life, and I think making sure that that was shining through, especially in the scenes with Amber and I, making sure that, you know, because the movie, like, is, like you said, the goriest thing you'll see maybe this year, like, who knows, but I knew that if Nate was dark and brooding and moody, that, you know, it's black doesn't show up on black, white doesn't show up on white. You need that contrast. So I think that making him a cupcake of a human being and just having such an inherent sweetness, I think, contrasted the violence, hopefully, in a nice way.
It did. It was still violent, though.
Oh,
but
yeah, for sure.
that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But there's something that Nate says about, you know, meeting Cher is what gave his life meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to both of you as actors, what was that first role, or it could be what was that first movie that you watched that really made you feel like this is what I was meant to do?
That's such a good question.
Wow. I don't know that it was one thing. I think I kind of always just, I feel like for me it was like a slow process of uncovering, like I have like little markers, but they all kind of go together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had one day of work on a movie called Hell or High Water. I had a scene with Ben Foster in the morning that was not in the movie, and then a scene in the evening with Jeff Bridges, and that day changed my life forever.
Yeah.
And I definitely, that was really like very pivotal in me understanding like who I am as an artist, what I want to do with my future, like all that stuff. So I feel like if anything that, but it's so many things.
Oh, yeah.
Put together.
By the way, Hell or High Water is incredible. Like, it's just such, I've said this to you before, but dear God.
Oh, thanks.
I think for me, God, I just, watching certain movies growing up really made me want to do this. Jaws, I just think that that's just one of those movies that I watch more than any other movie ever. It just has everything for me.
Mm-hmm.
The Jim Carrey comedies, like Liar Liar, I think is such an incredible movie of like, and what he does in that, like he's able to be a jerk, a great dad, and flail around a lot with his limbs. So like he just does so much with that role. But I think for me in terms of working, it has been like, you're right, the same thing, like little markers here and there. Honestly, I probably had a lot of those moments on this movie where even though I've been doing this for a minute now, there's just, I'd never been number one on the call sheet before, and that really was a different experience, and just having more of a kind of an overview of the movie was so interesting, and just getting to work with cool people. I don't know, that's kind of my goal now. I just want to work with my friends until I'm dead, and this was a movie that really solidified that vision. I'm like, oh, I just get to work with kick-ass people like Amber. I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Wow. A movie that I watched that gave me meaning. Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. 1 and 2. Equally perfect films to The Godfather 1 and 2. Debate me on this. They're two perfect films.
I was thinking more like Austin Powers.
Yeah.
I feel like that really made me feel like, wow, life is beautiful.
Yeah.
Life is beautiful.
Nothing like a good pee, am I right?
Amen.
I'm sorry. I'm so
Amen.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
You know, it's kind of a funny answer, but when we were we were freshman year roommates at college, and so we were, just trying to figure out what our tastes were, and it was film school, and so there's a lot of people there who had seen every movie already, and it was daunting, had seen every French New Wave movie and all these things, and we didn't come from film families, we didn't have, our parents aren't like film nerds who were, showing us the 400 blows when we're 9 years old and stuff like that, and so we really bonded over, like, one night we were just like, you wanna watch Commando? And that just started this process of kind of discovering the sort of movies that we wanna make, which are audience-forward movies that are not about the director and their legacy, but is just about having the most fun possible and trying to create a product that's going to entertain somebody who spent their hard-earned money to come and sit in a theater and watch it.
Right, I need to know, why is Simon so damn mean?
Why is he mean?
Yes, I was like, damn, what did Simon go through to be like this?
Honestly, it all started very young. I'd have to imagine. Yeah, it all started very young. But he's a very fun character. He's mean, but he's funny. So you're kind of like, you're okay.
Simon mean as hell, but I know he a vibe to hang out with.
100%. No, he's fun. Like, let's face it, like, he's fun.
Friend that you have fun with, but you gotta leave them before midnight because things get a little crazy.
After
right.
midnight,
Oh,
right.
100%.
Not a good look.
Not
right.
a good look. Bad. Reverse Cinderella or proper Cinderella.
Proper.
I also appreciate that Roscoe is like a ride or die friend, and we need more friends like this.
Yeah.
So I want to know the both of you, like, what is the most ride or die friend thing that you did? How good of a friend are you?
Whoa.
Gosh, I mean, like getting him out of murders.
Yeah,
that's a big one. I think putting my
being an accomplice of murder. That's a big friendship move.
Yeah, that's a big move.
Yeah, that's a tough question.
Yeah,
it's always tough. I don't know.
I know you really have to think about, because in my personal life, I don't know if I'm that good of a friend. I don't know. I don't know if I'm a friend.
Well, not that good. I think it's hard.
I mean, like, it's hard because
Roscoe sets a very high
Yes,
bar.
I mean, like,
that's what we're
it's
saying.
I would help cover something up. But I don't.
Sure.
It's hard. It's hard to say.
Take you to the airport.
Yeah, right. Maybe help you move. Moving.
Maybe moving.
Because moving is annoying. So
Get you through breakups.
Right, yeah.
To a certain point. Again.
right.
There's a limit.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like more people will be accomplices in helping somebody move, though. That's how you know you're a good friend.
Exactly.
We were talking about that earlier. We were like, if you become an accomplice, you're just, okay, we got to do this now.
Right, but
moving, it's like,
you gotta get a truck, and sometimes they don't have like the right moving stuff.
Something's on TV.
Right. Oh man, that's the worst.
But I always find it fascinating, like, director duos. Like, can you talk about the nuance behind that? Like, having somebody to actually, like, piggyback off of? Like, what does that directing relationship look like when you have someone else with you?
I mean, listen, like Bobby said, we met when we were 18 years old, and so we were best friends long before we started making movies together, and that foundation has been really important. I think it could be tricky if you just sort of, like, meet someone at a coffee shop in LA and then decide to start working together. You're probably that much closer to an argument that might end up dissolving the whole thing, because there's a lot of positives to working with a partner. There's also a lot of perils. You have to kill your ego. This is no longer my movie, it's our movie. Exactly. And you have to believe that, and you have to really live that. And that's tricky sometimes, but then the positives are that there are two of us. Like you said, it's hard navigating this business creatively and on the business side. It can sometimes be scary and daunting, and you don't quite know what's up ahead, what's around the next bend. And it's really nice to have a collective sounding board. We're basically each other's therapists, so it definitely helps in a lot of ways in that regard. Before you even get to the creative benefits, which are sort of obvious, there's two brains, so we get to build stories together, and by the time we're sharing anything publicly, it's gone through the filter of both of us. So it's usually a better product than it would if it was just us alone.
I love that you said that, because I was like, they would make really great therapists. Like, guys, if you take it through directing a movie, like, we could coach anyone through anything.
Definitely.
Exactly.
But I think one of the things that really stuck with me as I thought about this movie after leaving the theater is the thing that I appreciate the most about Novocaine is it kind of dispels this myth of the action hero. And it just makes you realize that, like, just having a heart is, like, what makes you a real hero. The fact that this person was like, this isn't right, I want to go after this person. So, like, can you talk about having a film that kind of puts the themes things that the industry thinks like we have to have this like super buff guy go save the day.
Yeah.
Like how is it kind of like pushing against that narrative that Hollywood brings?
Sure. I mean, that is what drew us to the project. I mean, we wanted to make an action movie for the longest time. You know, like we just told you, it was obviously one of our favorite genres growing up. But it's really hard to make an action movie early on in your career just because they're more expensive, you know? And even though this is a relatively low budget action movie, it was still the biggest project we'd worked on. And, you know, it was important to us to find an action film that didn't feel like other action films of the present moment. You know, I think there are a lot of there's a lot of action movies, great action movies like John Wick and stuff, where, you know, your protagonist is an unbelievable assassin who's the best fighter in the whole world, and you know, and those kinds of movies are very much about the fight scenes and kind of always trying to one up each other with even cooler, like karate based, like long fight scenes, the one shot fight scenes and stuff. And so we wanted to kind of throw it back a bit to the late 80s and early 90s, where a lot of times your protagonist would not be that, you know, like in Die Hard, John McClane is just a cop. He's not a cop who, you know, like does these cartwheel kicks and all these things, and it makes it more relatable, you know? I think that that was, again, what drew us to the project, is that the fight scenes, you know, he's losing the fight for the vast majority of all the fight scenes until the very end when he comes up with a you know, a kooky way to win it. And I think, you know, as two people who have never been in a fight, it felt relatable to us because we're like, yeah, that's what we would do. We would probably flail and throw lettuce and scream.
I love it. Look, Amber, keep being the badass that you are. Jack, keep being the new Tom Hanks of our generation.
Oh, God.
I want to thank both of you for taking time out of your day to speak with me. I always appreciate you, and I'm continuing to send nothing but love and light both your ways.
Thank you so
You're the
much.
best. So good to see you again.
Thank you.